Good morning, everyone. Respected Principal, Nirmala College, Dr. Sister Jyoti, Principal, Loreto College, Kolkata, Dr. Sister Christine, Principal, Salesian College, Sonada, Reverend Father Dr. George, Principal, Little Flower, Degree and PG College, Hyderabad, Reverend Brother Dr. Vincent Reddy, esteemed resource person of today's session, Dr. Debjani Roy, and my dear colleagues and students. A very warm welcome to today's session. It is indeed a pleasure to be associated with three of the renowned colleges of the country under the aegis of Xavier Board of Higher Education in India. To initiate this event, may I invite our Honorable Principal, Dr. Sister Jyoti, for her welcome address.
Esteemed resource person of the day, Dr. Debjani Roy, HOD Department of Geography, organizers, Dr. M. Rani Seraphim, Dr. Anjali, Dr. Srirupa, Mrs. Prachi, Sister Suman, and all dear participants from Nirmala College, Ranchi, Loreto College, Kolkata, Salesian College, Sonada, and Little Flower College, Hyderabad. And my dear students, a very warm good morning to you all. It is a blessed day indeed, where we are collaborating with renowned colleges of the country, that is Loreto College, Salesian College, and Little Flower. And we are here today to witness with one heart, one mind, the unity of the nation in educational institutions as well. I feel it is indeed a great initiative taken by Xavier Board of Higher Education in bringing us together through this platform of having academic networking and collaboration, and the initiative taken by our college to collaborate with these colleges to learn from one another, learn in all spheres. It gives me a deep joy and immense feeling of oneness. Let's thank God for this opportunity and great initiative taken by Xavier Board of Higher Education for academic networking and collaboration. I especially congratulate our organizers, that is Dr. M. Rani Seraphim, Dr. Anjali Smita, Dr. Srirupa, Mrs. Prachi, and Sister Suman, to bring us to this platform to witness the oneness and the learning, to give us an atmosphere of higher learning. We all know that the development of a nation is highly influenced by its economic policies and social infrastructure. And I firmly believe that economic growth can never be appropriate in absence of a civil society. But I am afraid to say that however progressive we have become, but still the world suffers with a great drawback, and that obviously is the gender inequality. Still, women are denied several privileges. They are readily available to men. There are certain barriers to women empowerment that can be clearly observed right from the beginning, like from household to educational institutions to workplace, etc. How can we just ignore the fact that a large population of women, irrespective of age, are exposed to various crimes that seizes their right to a dignified life? Such factors hinder the growth and potential of not only a gender, but that of humanity. We need to address this issue on a priority level, that social and economic justice prevails. Economic justice facilitates economic growth, and inclusive growth requires more women to be in the workplace. So there are many common issues that women need to discuss, and that makes the issue of gender equality one of the most globalized issues of our time. It is not just women who must fight, men and women must fight together for us to achieve the kind of change that we desire. Women need to understand their rights and their implementation, whereas men need to understand the worth and respect of women. Let's give faith to our young generation women that they are the caretakers of a sustainable nation of the future. Let's inculcate in them the confidence and the strength to achieve great results. Let's make them believe their potential. I hope and believe today's lecture session would help our students to understand the worth of gender equality. I hope and aspire for a world where gender equality remains no more an issue, but a way of living. Wishing you all the best. Have a pleasant time. May God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, sister, for highlighting the relevance of today's theme on which our lecture session is based. Dear students, as you are aware that the National Education Policy of India 2020 aims at an equitable and inclusive education. In simpler words, learning for all. In this regard, education is considered to be the most important tool in reforming the society such that every citizen could have an equal opportunity to dream, thrive, and contribute to the nation. Today's session is an attempt to help you understand the concept of gender equity in higher educational institutions. And for this, we have with us today an expert in this field, Dr. Debjani Roy, Head, PG Department of Geography, Nirmala College, Ranchi. An alumnus of Lady Brabon College, Kolkata, Dr. Debjani has more than 25 years of teaching and research experience. She has authored several books and research papers on urban resource, population, and environmental geography. She has also convened many national and international seminars, conferences, and workshops. She is an honorable member of several national and international organizations like the Commission on Gender and Geography of the International Geographical Union, the Gender and Feminist Geographies Research Group, Indian Association for Women's Studies, to name a few. She is presently the institutional coordinator for research on gender equality in higher educational institutions in India with Brunel University, UK. May I now invite our esteemed resource person, Dr. Debjani Roy, to take over the session. Thank you. Before we begin, may I request all our participants to please switch on your videos.
Thank you, Dr. Shirupa Roy. Honorable Sister, Dr. Sister Jyoti, Principal of Nirmala College, all the esteemed principals of the various colleges that we are collaborating with, Little Flower College, Hyderabad, Silesian College, Sonada, Loreto College, Kolkata, to name a few, all the faculty members, all the organizers, and my dear students. It's a privilege for me to be speaking to you all today from the platform of my own institution, and it gives me immense pride to do so. Within the next 40 minutes, I'll be taking you down the theme that is very relevant, which our principal has already spoken about. I'll be speaking on gender equity in higher educational institutions. First and foremost, I'll be explaining what gender is, moving on to what equity is, and then its relevance in higher educational institutions. So for that, I'll be sharing my screen. Slideshow. So I hope you're all able to see the screen. It shows gender equity. You can see two symbols, one of the male chromosome and the other of the female chromosome. And equity is not synonymous with equality. We'll be learning about this later on, how equity is different from equality. So I begin with what is gender. The term gender was coined by Simone de Beauvoir in 1960. She's a feminist philosopher who coined the term when the movement first began in the West. The feminist movement began and the concept of gender came forward. Gender is different from sex. Sex is a biological concept. You're born with a certain type of body. Your physicality, your appearance determines your sex. Sex is binary. So I'm moving on. Let me show you what gender identity tells us. Now, identity is something which represents us. So it is an individual's conception to what the individual believes to be, whether it's him or her or it or they. As opposed to sex, gender is not a binary concept. Sex is either a male or a female. As I've told you, it's a biological thing. You're born with a certain type of body. You exhibit certain traits and characteristics. That is sex. But gender is a lot more different and a lot more wider. The identity of gender starts even before the age of 3, how the child is conditioned. Till the age of 3, often you see in a family, if parents want a male child and they get a female child, what do? They try to dress up the female child in the boy's clothes, try to give the child those toys that boys play with the hope that the child, that the desire they had for a male child would be fulfilled. What happens to the child? The child is not aware of his or her body because the child has only seen herself or himself. So the child starts thinking as the society, as the parents, as the family want the child to think. So here starts the identity of gender. Very often you see that a girl may behave in a very boyish manner and you say that, see, she's the tomboyish character. How did the tomboyishness come into that person? It's because of the upbringing. It's because of the social construct. So it's a society that gives identity to gender. I hope I'm clear in this. Now, as I move on, kindly see, this is the concept of gender as different from sex. So sex is actually a biological concept. I have already told about it. It comes with childbirth. The child is born either a male or a female. Then comes the third part, that is, after the child becomes an adolescent, the child develops certain secondary sexual organs. Screen is not moving?
No, it wasn't moving.
Okay. Is it visible now? No. Okay. If it's, then it cannot be. I mean, animation will not take place in this. Won't take place. Transition, yeah. Anyway, so if you see this, you'll be able to understand, because I had a few animations I won't be able to do because of this. So the sex of a person is evident by the secondary sexual organs, that is beard, and sex cannot be changed unless and until you go for a surgery. So sex remains the same till you die. You're born with one type of sexual organ. You remain with that until and unless you go for surgery. In contrast to that, gender is a social construct. It is connected to child care, upbringing of the child. It can change. How does it change? The question is, how does it change? How does the gender change? Well, you see, I told you that a child is having a certain type of grooming. Now, what happens when the child grows up into an adult or even an adolescent? The behavior of the child does not change. And once the hormones start taking up most of the mental space, then the child might feel, the boy or the girl might feel that he or she is trapped in a different type of a body. Herein comes the concept of a third gender. And nowadays, third gender is all that we talk about in inclusivity. We have to be open to the third gender. So moving on, the last part of gender is the decision making. So the gender, the decision for the gender, whether I want to be addressed as she or a he or a it or me or whatever it is, it's up to me. So gender is my own personal manifestation. Moving on, are gender and sex related? Yes, they are related, but sex is a binary concept. Either male or female, that's binary. And gender is not, is a non-binary concept. We call it heteronormativity. I'll now speak a little on transsexuality, transvestism, and genderqueer. We are all aware of LGBTQ, and you know the full form of LGBTQ. Each of it has a significance. What is transsexuality? Transsexuality is basically the feelings and emotions of a person. A person might feel that I am trapped in a different type of a body. I am not able to not be coherent with the type of body that I belong to. A man may feel that he is trapped in a woman's body and vice versa. It's all to do with emotions. Transvestism is different. Transvestism is cross-dressing. The concept of transvestism came into being in the 1990s, 1910, when a book, Die Transvestites, was published by a German physician, and where the German physician spoke of cross-dressing. So why do people cross-dress? Why do women want to wear men's dress or men want to wear women's dress? This gives them some sort of pleasure. It has nothing to do with their sentiments, nothing to do with their emotion, nothing to do with their mentality. They don't want to change their personality. They just want to enjoy dressing up differently. In Calcutta, there are clubs were male with long beards. They wear Banarasi saris. They wear long veils because they like doing that. And there's nothing wrong with that. The third is gender queer. Gender queer is either a male or a female, or neither a male nor a female, or both. So a queer personality. Now, the question might come, are transgenders queer? Well, transgenders may be queer, but they are more towards transsexuals. So they feel they are in someone else's body. It's not queer, it's transsexual. Okay? The term gender queer actually came because it was an anti-gay slur. It came up in the 1990s. And then came the idea of being queer, like boys wearing earrings or keeping long nails or even painting their nails, putting on lipstick, eyeshadow, eyeliners. You might think that why is the person dressing up like that? That is a queer thing. But there is nothing unusual. The person is not, I repeat, never ever shun a person because the person is dressing up the way he wants. Because it's a free world. Everyone has the right to express himself or herself. So now I move on to gender identity, and unfortunately, even this is not moving. It's an animation picture that, shall I try once again? I'll just try once again to see if it's moving. Is it a video? Yeah, see it's moving. I don't know if others can see whether it's moving or not. So here you will see a man, a woman, and the gender queer is in between. When you talk about sexual orientation, at one end is homosexuality, at the other end is heterosexuality. And in the middle, you have sexuality. Same thing with the gender expression. You have femininity in one hand, you have masculinity on the other hand, and androgynous in the middle. With this, I just move on. I'm not sure whether others are able to see it. Are they able to see it, Prachi? Yeah. Loreto College, can you please put in your chat box if you can see? Yeah. Is it visible? It's visible. So shall I move on? Again, see? Yeah. So I'm moving on to the next.
Interrupting you.
Yeah.
We can do one thing. Yeah. We can stop share and we can start share.
So any questions till now? Anyone having any question, or is it going on smoothly? I hope you can understand. I've tried to keep it simple. Now I move on to gender differences in campus. Well, you see, we and Loreto College, we are girls' college. I'm not sure about Little Flower. We are a girls' college, but other colleges are co-ed colleges. So what happens when you have different gender in the campus? You have male, you have female, you might have transgenders also. The first thing that we notice is the physical difference. There's a physical difference. So how do you deal with that physical difference? Obviously, we have to be inclusive. We have to admit everyone, whether it's a male or a female or a transgender. But then as you move inside the campus, you'll find that there are social differences in gender roles that are assigned to people. In a youth festival, you'll find that girls are given the job of doing a rangoli or an alpana, as they say in Bengal, while the boys are asked to handle the camera or the IT or the whatever it is. So there's a social difference in the gender roles that is assigned, and that has been laid by the society. All of us are capable of doing it, but it so happens that we have it differentiated or compartmentalized, and I'll go on. When I go on to the next slides, you will come to know why this is so. Then there is academic or cognitive differences in gender. Now, there is nothing to prove that boys or men are more brainy than girls. No, it's a wrong concept that boys perform better academically or in cognitive field. It's not so. They are equals. Only thing, we don't give equal opportunity at the right moment to girls. Mostly we don't do that. It comes from the family itself. I'll talk about that also. Attention paid. Now see, girls and boys, when they're both speaking, girls have a softer tone, boys have a more assertive tone, a louder voice, and maybe the attention that is paid to boys within the campus, sometimes there might be a difference. Same with public versus private talk. If a male teacher wants to talk to a group of girls, he'll keep his distance. But if a male teacher is talking to a group of boys, the male teacher can come and put his hand on the shoulder of the boys and he can be pally with them. There's no harm in that. So that is the social construct that's there in the mind. And that gets reflected in the campus also. Even while distributing praise and criticism, girls are often said that they are very well-mannered and very soft and quiet, and these types of attributes are given to girls. Whereas for boys, it's a different thing. He has leadership qualities. So we unknowingly, we are differentiating between the genders within the campus. And if a third gender happens to come, then we don't know, all attention might be diverted to the third gender just out of curiosity. Nothing more than that. Now, here are certain gender stereotypes. You will notice that there are two different colors in your slide, blue and pink. And this is a question that keeps on coming up at every feminist discussion, that why do we assign colors? Why do we give different colors, pink color for girls and blue color for boys? When boys now wear pink color shirts and girls also wear blue color shirts, isn't it? So why do we give this color difference? Well, this also is a concept that has come from the West, and it is a commercial concept. It so happened that in the US, they manufactured things with this color theme so that they could sell it off easily. Parents who were about to become parents, they went shopping for their would-be children, depending on the color, because they get to know the sex of the child beforehand. So they shopped for the would-be child in this manner, and this is how it has remained. I'll talk to you about more gender types. Unfortunately, there is no animation, but then you can just see there are certain gender types. Bank president. The moment you hear bank president, the image that comes to your mind is a male. The moment you say kindergarten teacher, it's a female. Fashion model, female. Again, scientist, male. There are plenty of big scientists, but then we always think that a scientist will be a male. So that is the gender stereotype. It's there in our mind. We cannot do anything about it. We have been conditioned to think like that right from the childhood. So now that we know what gender is, what gender type is, we move on to the women, because this is where we need to focus our attention on. So inclusiveness in girl education. Now, what is girl education? I have taken up 4 points. You can see on your slide, gender equity. What is equity? Equity is not equality. Equity is equal opportunity. So 2 years back, when we were in the lockdown period, we had switched off onto online classes. What happened to those families where there were maybe 3 or 4 children, but one phone? That phone was handed over to the boy of the family, because the parents felt that the boy needs to access education. So where is that equity? You're depriving the girl from equal opportunity to have a cell phone, to access education. And this leads to dropout rates. You see, girls, they come for primary education. But when they move on to secondary, when they reach their puberty, that is when the problem starts. Parents are scared to send their children to school because many schools don't have proper toilets. So there is a huge dropout rate, especially in Eastern India. What happens to GER? What is GER? Gross enrollment ratio. Gross enrollment ratio is very low for girls. And not only for girls, it is much lower within SC, ST, minorities, OBC. This gross enrollment ratio, in order to increase gross enrollment ratio, the government has started many things. But somewhere down the line, there is a difference created in the family. I once visited a school in a backward region of Jharkhand, Palamau. And I found that in that school, all the students were girls. There were no boys. So I was very happy. And when I asked the school teacher, why is it so? How come there are so many girls and just 1 or 2 boys? The teacher told me that the boys go to private schools. The parents send them to private schools, to public schools, and the girls are sent to government schools. So you see, where is the equal opportunity? Where do you get the opportunity to learn? Then what happens to STEM subjects? The last one. The STEM subjects are science, yes, technology, engineering, medicine. These are things that are taken up by the boys. Girls are prevented from taking up by their own family. Why? Because at the back of the mind, that concept plays that girls are meant to do softer jobs, maybe not to work as an engineer in a steel plant. So a girl can take up English honors, do English honors, become a teacher, look after the family, and live happily ever after. Moving on, what does equity in higher education means? Because I started with gender, moved on to equity. I hope you've understood that. Then what is equity in higher education? To put it very simply, equity means you are addressing all sections of the society. Here it is not about males, not about females. It is about all those people I spoke about, the transsexuals, the transgenders, the queer people, the physically handicapped people, the SC, ST, OBC, everyone, all sections of the society. We have to provide equal opportunity to everyone. Until and unless we do that, all expected goals of education can never be met, because every country has some goals. Education is set up, the education policy is set up with certain goals, and those goals can be met only when we have equity in higher education system. Now I'll tell you about inclusivity. You know equity, now what is inclusivity? So you can see the pyramid over here. As you enter higher educational institutions, the first thing that you see is social diversity. This social diversity is evident in the form that you're filling up. The form says you have to give your name, you have to give your gender or sex, you have to give your father's name, you have to give your father's income, you have to state your religion, your caste, your whatever, everything, isn't it? The region from where you belong to. So what is this? This is social diversity. Why are we asking for such information? Because the ultimate aim is to move towards social inclusion. As you can see, the top of the pyramid, it shows social inclusion. In between, what happens? In between, another diversity is created, and that is academic diversity. Not everyone can perform well. Some of them are slow learners, some are fast learners, some are more intelligent than the others, some have extraordinary qualities, skills. So that creates academic diversity. But the ultimate focus is to move towards inclusion. Then I move on to the NEP 2020. Now this I have taken up exactly from the NEP manual, which says equity and inclusion in higher education, and I have highlighted portions which say that there is exclusion because of lack of knowledge. Most of the girls do not have the knowledge how to pursue higher education because they don't know the cost that is involved. No one ever tells them, and they're very reluctant to explore because they are usually guided by their parents, by the family. There are a few privileged girls who move much ahead in life or higher up the ladder, but then that defies inclusivity. We have to be inclusive. So The NEP talks about admission processes, how we cut across geographical barriers, language barriers. We create employability potential through our higher educational programs. And then we give support mechanism. Those who cannot, we are there for you. That is what the NEP tries to focus on. Moving on, the key principle of national educational policy, I have somehow this has got highlighted, it doesn't show, but this is again, inclusivity and equity. So this is in the second point of NEP. You can look up if you want. Third, then we move on to manifestation of inequities of gender in higher education. So what are the manifestations? There are disparities in access to education because of different income levels. We don't come from equal income groups. We come from different income groups, and that creates disparities in our access. Not everyone can come in. Then secondly, and we are all representatives of privileged institutions. So we should be happy that we are part of it, but again, we have a greater responsibility towards the country. Regional disparities exist. A person who is coming from a remote area might not have had access to education at the lower level. How do we bring up that person? What about the rural-urban disparities? Especially speaking in English, communication skills. A rural person coming from rural area might be fluent in vernacular, but the same person might feel challenged speaking in English. And there, you know, the self-esteem goes down, self-confidence goes down. Social disparities exist. Even if we say that there are no disparities, we are very open to it, but no, it exists and it's there in our mind. We can't do away with it. You may not know the caste of the person who is sitting next to you, but you are aware that religion and caste divides exist. There are social disparities. And then finally, what happens? There is underrepresentation of women in postgraduate level. When women ultimately reach the highest level of education, that's a postgraduate level, they somehow fizzle out. Even if they take up PG, they'll take up for humanities or social sciences. Hardcore science subjects are not taken up. Then there is underrepresentation in prestigious and elite institutions. By prestigious and elite institutions, I mean all the IITs, the IISCs, the IIMs, they all have more number of men than women. Not because women are not brainy, but it's just because women do not get the opportunity to reach that far. The problem lies in access. The problem does not lie in academic excellence or cognitive skills. Then finally, there is underrepresentation of socially disadvantaged groups like SC, ST, OBCs in STEM subjects also. So there must be some areas of intervention. We should think how to strengthen ourselves. So we have to spread and disperse higher education across the country, across all regions of the country. It can be remote area of Ladakh or Arunachal Pradesh or even Lakshadweep. We have to spread higher education. We cannot limit education to only primary level. We also have to expand government and private aided institution. And thirdly, we have to offer skill development or job-oriented courses, because becoming financially independent is the first step to success. Only then can women speak up for themselves. Offering hostels to students, especially girls in urban areas, and then identifying student groups that are underrepresented. Every campus has certain underrepresented groups. We have to bring them into the campus. We have to encourage them to come to the campus. Encourage girl students to opt for science subjects. There are plenty of platforms now, online learning platforms. Teachers are there to support the students. There are support mechanisms in all colleges. Only thing we have to make ourselves reach to that level. And the problem lies not with the society. I started with that, but now the problem lies within ourselves. We have to reach out because we have to help ourselves. Girls have to do that. Transgenders have to do that. They have to make their presence felt. Otherwise, we can never be an equitable society. I end with the concluding statement that was put on Women's Day in 2020, which says that it is imperative to take forward the momentum of empowerment of girls and women through education in all institutes. In particular, it is a time to focus on the inclusion of female participation in higher education institutes and address a set of fundamental questions. So I began with what is gender, I moved on to what is equity, and then I moved on to the need for equity in higher educational institutions. I hope I have satisfied all the queries, all the questions, but I look forward to more questions. Any doubt, anything you want me to speak on, I'll be more than willing to take up. These are some of my references which I've used to prepare this presentation. Thank you for your patient hearing. I'll now take up a few questions. Yeah, may I request colleges to unmute and put forward their questions? I can see the colleges have already joined. Let me stop sharing the screen. I know. Yeah. So, yeah, you can even put your questions in the chat box. Little Flower College, Loreto College, my own college, and whoever is present over there, may I request you all to unmute yourself so that I get to see you all also. Yes, my own students. Yes, please. Come. Introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Angel Nisha from English Department, Nirmala College. My query is from a segment of gender. Is it legal for LGBTQIA, illegal or legal for its marriage? I want to ask a question.
Thank you so much for putting a very pertinent question. 377, Article 377. Clearly, the Constitution of India has now recognized the LGBTQ. So it's not illegal. LGBTQ can live their own life and it's very much accepted. Yes. Yes, please come.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Prachi Kumari Sai. I am from UG Semester 4, Political Science Department. And my question is, in my opinion, most of the problems of gender equity and equality comes from family itself. So this such information so this information should also be spread towards the family who do such kind of inequality, not only limited to the students like us. So my question is, what is the situation of such kind of awareness in urban and rural areas?
So Prachi has put a question that how do we eradicate or do away with such discrimination? Now this discrimination exists. There is, this is evident, especially more, it's not that we don't have discrimination in urban areas. If you see the sex ratio of India, you will find that Chandigarh has the lowest sex ratio. I hope you know what sex ratio is. Sex ratio is number of female per 1,000 male. Now, if you see the 0 to 6 child sex ratio, you'll see that Chandigarh, which is one of the most developed parts of India, it's a developed state, it has the lowest sex ratio. And it's an urban, totally an urban area. So discrimination is not there only in rural areas. Discrimination is there even in urban areas. It is there within the family, and I think it'll change. Let's be optimistic about it. It'll change with time, and gradually it'll change. But then we have to be patient. We have to keep on doing these type of sessions. If your mentality changes, you become a parent, maybe you will not be discriminating between your children. Thank you.
Ma'am, can I ask a question?
Yes,
This
sure.
is from Little Flower College. Ma'am, I'm Pannaga from Little Flower College.
Yes.
I'm a faculty here. So sometimes we find, ma'am, among students that a few students are a bit different. I mean, boys are walking like girls. Sometimes they are a bit different from other students. So how to give confidence to such students when, because their classmates and all, they feel that these people are different and they don't accept them in class, they make fun of them. So how to build confidence in such students and educate the other students towards their gender equality?
Well, thank you, ma'am, for your question. This is a problem I think we all face. When there is a person who comes with a certain deformity or disability, it is the general tendency to just mock at the person. Okay, even when a student stands up to answer and gives the wrong answer, the whole class tries to laugh. So, ma'am, I think we all face this. First and foremost, we have to condition them in such a way that this is nothing abnormal. A boy might put on lipstick or wear earrings and come to class, and he might paint his nails. That's his choice, how he wants his appearance to be. And who are we to judge? We are not there to judge people. So I think some sort of, these type of awareness programs will help both of them, the students to come overcome their shyness and to overcome their discomfort level also. Other than that, there are no rules, no thumb rules that we can do this or we cannot do that. So that's
Thank
it,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you so much. So there's another question. Yeah, there are two questions. One is from Silesian Siliguri, and Srashta Chaudhary, ex-student of Loreto College and currently working as a faculty in Silesian Siliguri. I'd like to thank the organizers that the idea and concept of gender has been addressed. I'd like to know from ma'am, how can the problem of gender disaggregated data be solved, as because of lack of gender data, gender and sex are often used in the same concept, even in academic writings. Thank you. Yes, Srashta, ma'am, it's a problem because even the census, I don't know, 2021 census has not been out and we are still working on that, but we don't have a separate segment. And very often when a student takes admission into the institution, just asked to write whether a male or a female, and if the person is not a male or a female, then the question, it creates a lot of discomfort. What do I write? So I think many forms, especially in the West, in other countries, in US and other places, they have already included others as an option. I think that using others as an option will help in segregating the data. We can have male, we can have female, and then we can have the other gender. But then other gender is an umbrella term, and we have all of them in the other gender. At least that will give them some sort of identity numerically. So, ma'am, is it okay? Yeah, there's one more question from Loreto College. Good morning, ma'am. How far has the Indian society accepted the LGBTQ community? Well, ma'am, you're from Kolkata, and Kolkata has widely accepted LGBTQ community. We've had great filmmakers from this community. We have people, people of LGBTQ community are great artists. God has given them some extraordinary power. And if you just go and search Google, you'll find that the first person who changed sex is Bidhan Barua, who is an advocate in Guwahati High Court, a very close friend of mine. He became a she And that was the first case. No one was willing to take up the case. She went to Mumbai High Court and she registered a case. She won the case and she became Swati Vidhan Barua. So if you just Google Swati Vidhan Barua, you'll be seeing a beautiful picture of a beautiful person. As a person, she's extraordinarily talented. She speaks so well. She sings well. She dances well. So why not? Even if you go back to the texts like Mahabharata. So Arjuna, in course of Mahabharata, he also cross-dressed. When he had to live in disguise, he cross-dressed. When did people make fun of him? No, because he was a prince. No one could make fun of him. So no one makes fun of Swati Vidhan Barua because, and they've accepted her because she has achieved something. So I feel that if a person, achieves something, some position, whether it's financial or a status or whatever it is, a job or anything, that gives some identity to the person. And then, this identity of gender becomes secondary. No one says that you are a transgender if you have proved yourself to be a sort of an achiever, or you are a good person. The personality comes across as a nice personality. So no one will object to that. But if you are just, So if you're just, just for the sake of being different and just for having fun, if you do it, it's not the right thing. So I hope, ma'am, LGBTQ community, we will be inclusive towards that, and in near future, I am very optimistic about it. So Dr. Viswajit Das, I can see your, your hand has been raised. Can you? Yeah, camera and.
Hello.
Yes, can you switch on your camera, sir?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Yes. Yes, Vishwajit, please.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Is it? Okay. Yes, ma'am. So I'm faculty in Salesian College, Siliguri.
Yes.
So, ma'am, I have one question because I have one small observation in our area.
Yes.
Right here, we can see the gender disparity is high if we consider the male and female in our classes, and even in colleges, even in universities. Female student is more than male, but in terms of the job, okay, you can see the female number is less. A female people is less in the educational institution as a teacher. So how we can solve this problem, or what is the basic problem related to this? If you can highlight this issue.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Viswajit.
Thank
You
you.
see, the qualification to become a lecturer in a college is you have to do a NET or a PhD. Now, first of all, let us motivate our students to go and qualify NET exam, then go for PhD so that they can come back as teachers. What usually happens is that after being educated for a certain period of time, say graduation, post-graduation, finish, parents want the daughter to be settled, get married to someone, settle down into domesticity. Now, when this happens, somewhere or the other, we are cutting the wings of the girls. So why not start motivating them from their classes itself? That you see, you're more in number, therefore you can compete and you become teachers. You come back and serve these institutions. I think that is the only way forward, Dr. Viswajit, because at home they hardly get any support. We as teachers are there to support them. So thank you so much for your question. There is one more question from Loreto. Good morning, ma'am. I had a question. How far do you think the LGBTQ community will be accepted in the patriarchal society? Yeah, with the stigma surrounding the male and the female identities and exclusiveness. Absolutely, ma'am. This is a very, very pertinent question. Patriarchy, I didn't even touch on the topic of patriarchy. Patriarchy is not only ingrained in male. It is the power. It is in the power structure. Patriarchy is there in whoever is powerful. Supposing you have a principal who is a woman and who is taking care of a girl's college. So that is also patriarchy because that's power. if she can exercise her power. So here I've not even touched that patriarchal society exists. And when you are asking the question of LGBTQ being accepted, we are not willing to accept the female. The powerful don't accept the powerless. They are, that power structure that creates the patriarchal space. So intruding into that space is a big challenge for the LGBTQ community. So inclusiveness of that remains a distant dream as of today. But then we can always look forward to a brighter future. Thank you so much, ma'am. No more questions?
One more question.
Yeah, one more. Please come here. Yes. Thank you very much. You are Anvesha. Anusha. Thank you very much, Anusha. I think I kept on saying this: equity and equality are not synonymous. Equity means giving equal opportunity. Okay, you can make the society an equal society only if you give equal opportunity. Now, I'll tell you one instance. You in your childhood, you must have studied. You must have read a story of a crane and a fox that who had come for a party. And the crane and the fox were offered some soup on a flat dish. What happened? The crane could not drink because the crane has a long beak, but the fox could drink. Now, supposing you hand out opportunities in a manner in which you cannot access. I see there is a scholarship. If I announce in the class that there's a scholarship, but if I don't tell you how to access the scholarship, how will you know? So that is equal opportunity. I have to give you an opportunity to access that. Only when I give you the opportunity can I think of equality. Women empowerment is much bigger than that. And there comes the question of patriarchy that we were just discussing. That is the power structure. So empowerment, don't think that everyone who is working is empowered. No. We have 95% of the women in the unorganized sector. What happens to those women? Are they empowered? No, because they earn. They are working throughout the day, 12 hours they're working. The moment they go back with their wages, it is taken away from them by the husband, by the son, by the father-in-law. They have nowhere where they can go and address their problems. So that is not empowerment at all. So first, create opportunity. Tell them that here it is. Okay, give them that mobile phone. Don't just keep one mobile phone in the family for the son. Bring more mobile phones. Let the daughter also have mobile phone. First, access. Then you create an atmosphere of equality. Only when you create that atmosphere of equality can you move towards empowering the person. And empowerment also comes from within. You cannot just by giving them rights and some accessories or something, only some motivations. I'll give you this, I'll give you that, I'll give you a fellowship or scholarship. Therefore, you are empowered. No, empowerment should come from within. Okay, so this is it. Yes, one last question.
Myself, Debjani, student of chemistry department. My question is, as far as we know that the educational society might accept the concept of transgender or gender equality, but what about the uneducated people?
Gender equality, uneducated area. Okay. So what's your name? Garima. Garima, it's a misconception, Garima, that gender equality does not exist in rural India. Gender equality exists in many backward societies. It exists in tribal societies. You go to the Northeast, you'll find equality over there also. It is not limited to certain societies or certain sections or certain regions or religion. So never think that the people who live in the rural areas, they don't have equal rights. They also have equality. It depends on the society that they are belonging to. It depends on their immediate family. It depends on their extended family, how they treat the person. How a woman is treated in the house, that is very important. If a woman is allowed to speak in the house, she will naturally be able to speak even in the society. So you have a Panchayat Pradhan who may be very, who may not speak at all because she has a Pradhan Pati, a husband who is speaking on her behalf. That happens in rural areas. But at the same time, you may have a very vocal person in the Panchayat, and at the same time, you can have a totally voiceless person sitting in the parliament. It can happen. A learned person, domestic violence is not limited to rural household. It is there amongst the learned, amongst the highest class of the society. So women empowerment, voices of women, they come much later. First, give them that much of respect, that much of equity, give them opportunity, treat them as equals. Then the whole problem will be solved. Thank you so much. I think we have run out of time also. Yes, please. Thank you.
We have reached the end of our two-day lecture series conducted in the blended mode, and I'm grateful for getting this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks today. I hope the lecture series was an enriching experience for all the participants who joined us online as well as offline. I would like to express my gratitude towards our principal, Dr. Sister Jyoti, for her encouragement and support in organizing this event so successfully. I would also like to express my special thanks to our esteemed principals, Sister Christine Cohinto, Loyola College, Kolkata, Brother Vincent Reddy, Little Flower College, Degree and PG College, Hyderabad, Father George Taratil, Salesian College, Sonada, for your support and cooperation. I would like to thank our erudite resource person, Dr. Debjani Roy, HOD, PG Department of Geography, Nirmala College, Ranchi, for her insightful lecture on gender equity in higher educational institutions. Ma'am, you addressed various gender stereotypes and highlighted the importance of inclusivity and equity, which is equal opportunity. I hope that your lecture is going to motivate these young minds to be ready to break the glass ceiling present even in higher education institutions. I express my heartfelt gratitude to all the faculty members who have joined from other colleges, as well as our young and enthusiastic participants. They have interacted extendedly with ma'am, and I hope that all the questions have been answered. I hope this future generation has gained a better understanding of gender equity. I thank our coordinator, Dr. Emma Seraphim, and the team for organizing this program. And my special thanks to our team of logistics support for making this event a grand success. Thank you, everybody. We'll be signing off for today. I'll be posting the feedback form in the chat box. Kindly do the needful so that it gets filled in on time. Thank you.